One, and we're live.
Yo,
Yo,
we're back.
we are back. It's been a minute, but we're back.
The last after party was dope, so I'm excited for this one.
A lot of people in the last one, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was a fun time.
got
Yo,
the
Yes, sir.
what's
All
good?
right. Now it's
Offnen.
Discord.
I don't think I said that name correct, but what's good, bro?
Where'd you
Yo,
put their
yo.
names to begin with?
Yeah, we butcher names around here. No, I'm just kidding. Usually we don't. Okay, yeah, people are starting to come in. You got all the description stuff ready?
Yeah, I got it all.
I'll let you handle that.
What's up,
Yo,
Spatial? Richie,
what's good, guys?
Prince Made Productions,
What's good, y'all? Sync gain.
Craddock. Got the mentorship 0 to sync. Hey,
Yo, shout out
welcome.
you.
Yeah, welcome, man. I'm glad to have you. I'm excited to start this
You ready
second
to get-
round.
You ready to get some placements? Is it all right if I'm a beginner? I mean, this is pretty much
For sync?
Yeah, go ahead. Explain that.
If you're a beginner for sync, yeah, I think it's fine. If you're a beginner producer, I do recommend you being confident in your sound before you start pitching. But we give you tools and resources to help you expedite that process of becoming a better musician for sync, as well as like arrangement, some templates, sounds. We gave you some free sounds as well. And we do also live critiques and some of the mentorship as well. That way we can listen to your music and tell you why not it would fit or not. Richie said, how do I know if a mentorship option for 50 producers is still available? How would they know, Ryan? Do you know?
If the buy button's still there, you can still buy it. Once all 50 spots go out, the button is going to be like grayed out, so you can't buy it anymore. But yeah, if you click the button and you can go to the checkout page, you're good. But yeah, once it's capped at 50, it will automatically shut down the button.
What's up, my boy? Killing it now with the sync placements. What's up, Stack?
Yeah. What's good?
Welcome.
We're getting
Glad
the
to
whole
have you.
sync gang in here.
I know. Can you see classes as a teenager? That's a great question. Yes, you can. When I was working for a music library, we had a singer. Her name was Halo, and she was pitching music for like shows like Ring It and stuff like that on Lifetime. And she pretty much had her dad kind of manage her, so all of the royalties went through her. So just make sure if you sign up with the performing rights organization, if you're a teenager, to have like adult consent, because they give you an option on there how to sign up as a under 18. And I think we talk about that in the course too as well, if I can remember correctly. But if not, they give you an option to sign up if you're under 18, or sometimes they'll have you just do it with your parents, because you're going to need like a bank account. That way you can get your payments and everything like that. So how many hours would I need every week if I buy the mentorship? What do you mean?
Maybe like how much time commitment?
Oh, we go over. Well, obviously the course has its own like entity itself, but the mentorship part of it, we do pretty much like an hour and a half, 2 hour weekly calls, as well as assignments for you to do. As far as like, I give you a practice brief in one of the weeks. Like, I'll give you a brief of an actual brief that I worked on, and a practice brief for you to work on, and you can see me creating my track based off that process. Another assignment is like putting together a list of libraries, or like we go together on live and we do like a list of libraries. We like handpick each library together, and we have like a list and stuff like that. There's different assignments and stuff. So, it's not like you have to watch it live. It's better if you do, in my opinion, but it's not like you have to watch it live if your time commitment doesn't match up. Are there templates in Logic format as well? Not right now. I think we have some people who have made them, but we still got to kind of clean them out and make them a little bit more like accurate as far as how they sound in FL Studio. But we do have the MIDI files and the stems that you can drag into any DAW for you to use, so that you can use it in any DAW.
Yeah, I think we were thinking about trying to make the templates for other DAWs too, but it was kind of a lot to redo.
Oh yeah. Spatial says, I'm curious, are external collaborators allowed for music libraries? Do they also have to be accepted into the library in order to collab with you? That is a great question. So different libraries have different protocols. So let's say example for like Jingle Punks. Jingle Punks is a really big music library. They allow external collaborators, but the deal that you have with Jingle Punks is your deal. And however you decide to split the back end, like as far as your royalty payments or the upfront fees, is up to you to negotiate with that producer. They don't have any say so in it. You know, they signed you and you're the main person. But other libraries, rather you have on that collaborator within the music library under a contract. So it depends really on the library and the agreement. It's always best to ask them when doing so. So ask, you know, do you allow any external collaborators? I work with a handful of producers that I think will work great with me for sync placements. Retric says, where do I buy the sync course? I think the link is in the description.
Yeah, link's in the description, and I got him a link too.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I didn't see that.
I'm on it, man.
I'm behind on questions.
Nah, we're on it, bro.
Would you know what time around the mentorship calls start? They start on Saturdays. The first one is June 24th at, usually it's 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So that's West Coast, California time. And that's 3 p.m. Eastern. What's up, Denny? Denny Beats is in the building. My man's like 13 years old, killing the game right now.
Damn.
Is there a CCS discount? I think we already have a discount on it. That's the main discount. Oh, yeah, you already answered that. Okay, makes sense. Definitely keep in mind. Yeah, for sure. We're hyped because the first turnaround as far as like the mentorship program, you know, obviously it was the first enrollment of students. And it was cool to see the process along the way and like get feedback as far as what's working and what's not working. And the more we honed in on what people struggle with, the more we were able to see results. So I'm really hyped to kind of take this second group and then work together with the first group still. Because if you get the mentorship program, you can still watch like the next next wave of 6 weeks, right? So if, you know, the next wave of sync mentorship students and kind of just get that feedback and hone in and try to really capitalize and like get signed and get placements and stuff like that. My job is to help you along the way. And even if you're not in the mentorship and you just are in the regular course as well, we still take the time to give feedback. You have a section in the Discord where you can share your music and stuff like that. So we're hyped, man. I'm really trying to see some results. We're really focused on getting that 1,000 students to first sync placement.
Plus, we have the sync center. The sync center is crazy.
Oh, I didn't even talk about the command center. Yeah. How much would you earn from one sync placement, and does one placement open up many more doors like loop making game? To the last question that you had, does it open more doors? 100%. I've been able to like connect with industry artists because of sync. It just grows your credibility overall. I feel like once you have more placements and having those credits kind of gives you opportunities for more, whatever you want to do, really. It just builds your credibility. And then how much can you earn from one sync placement? It really depends. Let's say if you do an ad and it's for a local LA fitness in your area, it could be like a $7,000, upfront fee that you get for that. But if you're doing like TV, it could depend. It really depends on how popular the show is, what time the show's airing, what network it's on. So it's a wide range of how much you can actually earn. If you're doing the TV game, the royalty route, I feel like that's like the long-term game, which pays you well over time. But if you're doing like the upfront fee, like ad game, it's harder to get as frequent placements compared to TV. But they're both worth it in the long run, in my opinion. I can tell you from my second royalty check. My first royalty check, I think I shared that actually in the masterclass too. My first royalty check was 180 with 5 tracks. And I think I had like 4 TV show placements. My second one was like 13 or 1400. And I had like 10 or 15 tracks in the library at that time. And I was on like 30 shows at that time. I'm from Poland. How do I manage royalties and all that? Is it different than just being in the US? No, you can sign up with BMI. BMI has a international segment as far as working with international performer rights organizations on their site. So you can sign up directly on BMI, or you can just Google Poland Performer Rights Organization on your web browser and figure out which PRO they have. But BMI has an extension. They work with a lot of international companies. It's the same process, basically. I think that as far as like how Poland's PRO pays out would be different as far as how frequent it is compared to BMI. BMI is every like 3 to 4 months, but Poland might be, every month, or I don't know how they do it over there. So depends. but I have an uncle in Poland, so shout out to Poland.
The most random place to have a family member.
He's a military. Yeah, he's in the military.
Oh wow. Yeah. And by the way, if y'all got any more questions y'all want Nathan answer, go ahead and start dropping them in the comments. Like, we're here to just answer every kind of question y'all got about, the course or getting sync placements in general. Like, we're just here to spill all that knowledge right now.
100%. Is anybody in here from the last Zero to Sync course or mentorship?
Yeah, that'd be cool if they could share some of their experiences and all that.
Oh, Lazy Eye's in here. He's from the mentorship. What's up, Lazy Eye? Can hyperpop and death metal songs get featured in TV shows? Yes. If you could understand the context of how your tracks are going to get used, any really style of music can get used. But obviously more styles get placed more frequently, but there's a home for like all styles of music, except for like super abstract experimental music that doesn't really sound like music. That's too like really random. You just have like random crickets matched with some kid sliding down a slide at a park or something. It has to be like musical. But yeah, I feel like hyperpop fits really well for like scene openers. So when they have B-rolls and stuff opening up the scene, the music in the background showing the different city landscapes, hyperpop would fit really well for that. Death metal, I feel like it's definitely a specific type of audience, like think about car shows and stuff like that. So yeah. Luna, is it too difficult to get a second and third placement, or does it get easier over time? In my opinion, it gets easier because you start understanding what works and what doesn't work. And when you get that feedback as far as like turning in tracks, and you see that like one track is placing way more than others, then to make more tracks in that style, have that same feeling, then you start seeing more and more. And once you start building a relationship with the music library, and they see that you become more reliable, they give you more opportunities. So maybe at first they'll give you like 2 or 3 shows that they're working on, but in total, they're probably working on like 100 shows at a time. So the more that you build that relationship and you show that you're reliable and that your music actually works and it has a home, then you're going to start seeing more and more opportunity. In my opinion, it gets easier over time. For sure. Definitely for sure. Please share something if you can on the chat. I think it might be really interesting for sure. I'm making Yeet, Opium, hard synth type beats. No one will put that on his TV show. As long as the stems have like no lead or something, right? It just depends. I feel like we're starting to see like that Yeet style get more popular just because of TikTok is like really honing in on like the viral sounds that have that Yeet sounding like rage type of like high energy type of stuff.
Yeah, like you got to figure out a way to make that style be able to blend well with television too.
Yeah, I can see that type of stuff. Like think about the NBA Finals right now when they're showing the scorecard right before they go into commercial, and you see Jimmy Butler just drop 30 points in the first quarter. that they're gonna play that style of beat under it because it has that energy.
Yeah,
on
exactly.
Student mode, try to get sync with the stuff. Let us know how we can help, man. Yeah, Lazy Eye is the truth too. Lazy Eye is a super talented musician. He was in the mentorship program and crazy talented, man. We had a one assignment. It was create a track. It was for a show based out in Denver, and he blew it out the water. Like everybody was just supposed to make an instrumental. This dude got an instrumental and then like a vocalist on it. It was crazy. I've collabed with Lazy Eye in the past too. What's good, Sagara? The boy Sagara, the truth himself. I'm
trying to get mods in the chat.
Yeah, Sagara's the truth. I'm gonna get Sagara on a YouTube video. Let him share his story and give out some of his sync licensing insight because he studies the game really well. Like he's taught me stuff that I didn't even know, like certain plugins and stuff like that, or programs that certain people use and stuff. As far as like AI and stuff, I got to get Sagara in the mix.
Damn, they got the AI sync programs now.
Yeah, they have one that like tracks to see if a track sounds too similar to a major track. That way they don't get sued. And they use that also to like track kind of royalty-free loops as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think, was there a question earlier about someone asking about using loops or collaborations? Did we touch on that one?
I'm not sure, but I can answer it.
I think it was Spatial. He said, I'm curious, are external collaborators allowed? I don't think we hit that one.
Oh yeah, the external collaborators. I think I talked about that. But if you're talking about loops, royalty-free loops, like the major ones like Splice and Cymatics, those usually get tracked, and it just causes more work in the back end. Even though I know it's like not important to like it. Like you can use royalty-free loops, but a lot of libraries kind of are pushing back on it because the music supervisors, the people who are the head of the show, are starting to get concerned, saying, "Hey, this is showing up as another song," and it just causes more work for them. And they don't know about royalty-free loops; like they're not familiar with how producers are making their music, so they just see it as that track is not cleared. This is going to cause me legality issues. That's more work for me. Let's look for another track that's completely made from scratch. Oh, my boy Lazy Eye with the donation. He says, if you're serious about sync, they're offering the best course right now. Thanks for the knowledge and the opportunity. Yo, I appreciate you, Lazy Eye. Shout out to the homie.
Yeah, shout out.
Thanks for donating.
That dude's just sending us money, not even buying anything. We're that good.
That's the homie, man. Super talented. Let me know if you guys have any questions about the course. If you have any sync questions, if you don't know about sync and you need more info about it, let me know. I'm here to help. I'm sure at this point Ryan has done so much of helping in the back end that he pretty much knows everything.
Let's tackle this one, baby.
Based on an educated prediction, how many months until sync licensing game becomes too saturated for new producers to join? Before I answer that, I will give Ryan the opportunity to share a link that he found about how much content Netflix is producing.
Oh yeah, Netflix.
Or if you're looking it up, I could keep answering this question.
We're about to get super meta here.
Content is king right now. We're seeing content grow at an exponential amount, especially after COVID, like during COVID and after COVID. And with more content being made lies more opportunity. Now, I feel like with that being said, the payment may be upfront, may be as small as it was like 10, 15 years ago, but there's more opportunities to get more payments, like more opportunities to get more placements. So if you think about an episode of reality TV, and I'll let Ryan, pitch in after this. If you think about an episode of reality TV, right, it could be anywhere from 80 to 150 tracks on average. I was a person in charge of the cue sheets of all the tracks that were placed on a TV show. So I would see how many tracks were used. It was 80 to 150. That's in one episode. Think about 8 episodes in a series. That's the average of episodes, and that's 45 minutes long. 8 episodes in a series. You times that, you got like over 1,000, different tracks in one reality TV series. That's just one show. You got to think about all the different types of sync formats we're seeing right now. We're seeing augmented reality, virtual reality, anywhere where there's a video, like a content creator, Mr. Beast videos, all those type of different lanes opens up more opportunity, which is why I don't think sync licensing is saturated. Is it competitive? Yes, 100%. But is it saturated? There's so much opportunity out there. It's ridiculous. Like there's a whole open ocean that we haven't even tapped into. And Ryan, did you want to share what you read and you shared with me about the Netflix?
I'm trying to find the article.
I think you said there was like from the beginning of the year to March, Netflix had uploaded 194 different pieces of content as far as series, shows, movies, and stuff like that.
Yeah, I know. I had a screenshot of it because I use it for the emails and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's just like, dude, there's so much content. Content is ruling the fucking world right now. And, I think the best thing about it is companies are making content. Companies have to follow legal, laws. So they can't just rip a beat like a rapper can. They need to get the actual rights for it. And also it's like they just have money. And so it's like it's astonishing of what you'll see people get paid for their music for 20 seconds.
100%.
It doesn't make sense.
When I quit my job, my main focus was bringing the attention to this field, because when I got into it, I was really heavy on the beat selling route. I was really heavy on trying to work with artists to build that industry route. But when I was in there, I was seeing so many different people who were already signed to labels. I was seeing the person who created AO by Chris Brown. He co-produced Loyal by Chris Brown, had these #1 tracks, but he was focusing on sync licensing. And if you think about it, when these big artists are selling out their entire catalog, right? And they sell it for like $200 million. The first thing that person is doing who owns that catalog is taking that publishing, going straight to movies, saying, hey, we have these tracks, you know, we're able to pitch them right now. What, you know, what's your budget? And they're getting those big ass checks to pay for that. And then obviously that's like the bigger, higher tier type of songs, right? They have a brand behind it. You know, if Lil Wayne is selling his track to a movie, they're going to be using it. But they also have different forms of songs being used in a show or a movie that come from people who are independent because it fits their budget. So they need to fill out the higher demand of tracks. Like if they have 20 tracks in a movie, let's say, like maybe 5 of those will be a major song and the rest of the songs are going to be from songs that are from like a library or from like independent artists because it fits their budget. So, you know, I feel like sync is the way right now, in my opinion. I don't see it getting saturated for a while, unless like every single music producer and artist in the world just decided to focus in on at the same time. But I don't think that's happening because the more I talk about sync licensing, the more I realize a lot of people don't really know about it.
There's a lot to catch up on.
Yeah. What's up, Creation? Welcome. I'm locked in with the course and the mentorship. Hey, glad to have you. Excited to witness the journey. Thanks for trusting me. In terms of fill composers, would you recommend getting in direct contact with the music supervisor or just send through a library? Did you DM me this the other day? Because I remember this question actually. In terms of fill composers, if you're gonna be a composer, like a person who's creating from scratch for a movie or a TV show, right, a scripted series, I recommend going direct because they have a budget separate for composers as they do for like music libraries, right? So the libraries that are actually pitching out music already in a catalog, and that's going to be a better way for you to make more money because they have a budget for the composers separate from the actual libraries. If you're going to just have tracks that you already have on hand that you want to send to a library and they pitch it out for you, like you already have orchestral tracks, let's say 10 orchestral tracks or 15 orchestral tracks that are ready, that you just want to pitch out, that's not custom to the movie or show, then I would pitch to a sync agency or a music library. What's up, Vaughn? So the old Mentorship students are going to be able to join again. That's super dope. Yep. Definitely come through again. If you want to get a recap or you miss anything or you just want to grow better as a producer or artist, we're here for you. I'm sure Metro just got some racks off his newest project. If I had to guess how much Metro made off of his newest project with the Spider-Man universe, it would have to be high 6 figures or over $1 million because he gets paid per song. So if they had like a $4 million budget, and that's just on the low end for a major movie like that, you know, they're paying him per song. Oh, yeah. Somebody asked the same question, ironically, yesterday, I think, to me. I'm excited to hear it. You're getting hyped up by Lazy. I'm excited to hear the music.
So I finally did find that article.
Oh, you found it.
So let me... Will this work?
Are you going to screen share it?
Yeah.
Smart.
Netflix released. Yeah, here we go. So 1,024 original TV episodes.
It's crazy.
It's fucking wild.
It's ridiculous.
That's a lot of content that needs a lot of music.
I mean, dude, look at that. Like
ridiculous. It's only growing too.
That's just insane, man.
We're a duo based in Australia. We both of us need to have separate contracts in place for the music libraries, or could we deal with the libraries as one entity? You could deal with it as one entity. If you're not working with multiple collaborators and only you two are the collaborators, then you can sign as multiple entities and you come on splitting that percentage evenly with whatever their deal is. That's a good question. And I've seen people do that. There was this guy who did like indie rock and indie pop, and one was really good with vocals and the other one was good with the instrumentals, and they came onto our library together and they split everything together. Even if one person worked on a track and the other person didn't, they did that. And that's a great way also, if you're a producer who makes, let's say, like trap beats or rock beats, and you have somebody who's a friend who makes orchestral beats, that's a great way to come into a library as one and split everything together. That person takes over the orchestral side, you take over the hip hop or rock or whatever side you make, and having like 2 different styles coming together to pitch out for sync, you're taking over a whole nother market. And that's a great way to like build out a bigger catalog. And another thing too is like some libraries, after you get established, you can sign people under you, which is pretty cool. So you can, I would sign like an orchestra or cinematic producer, and they'll be going after those History Channel placements and stuff that I couldn't get myself. So it was cool. And that's a great way to just build out your network, getting a bigger piece of the pie. RTP says, what tracks are more in demand? Tracks with or without an artist? Right now, we're seeing a trend right now of more vocal tracks being used, but always in TV, the majority of music is instrumental, but we are seeing a higher demand for artists. I was watching Bel Air with my wife, and I was just like listening to all the different artist tracks that were on there compared to like a regular TV show. Like before, when I first started like 4 or 5 years ago, you would hear like 4 or 5 tracks on an episode of TV that had vocals, and the rest would be instrumentals. Now we're seeing like 20 to 30, 30 to 40. Another good example is Love Is Blind, using a ton of vocals. Every opportunity they can, they're using a vocal. So there's a lot of opportunity right now for vocalists. I would say right now, it's easier to get into a music library sync agency with an artist if you work with an artist. For sync licensing, do I need a separate website if I already sell beats for artists on BeatStars? Yes, 100%. Do not send your BeatStars link.
Can you explain like Disco for him, Nathan?
Yeah, so I recommend using disco.ac. It does cost money. I think it's free for your first month. I recommend using Disco just because it's industry standard, and a lot of these people who are in the game of sync licensing, like the music supervisors who are picking out the music, the A&Rs for these TV shows and movies, they use it. And if you just send them a Disco link, they can just hit a button and it adds it automatically to their folder. So they have folders of different music for people who are submitting to them that they want to add to the little arsenal to pick out. And it adds it automatically. You can see when somebody opens up your link. If you send a link out, when somebody opens up your link, you can add all your metadata to it, just like BeatStars, except it's for sync licensing. So I recommend don't using BeatStars. If you want to go the free route, I recommend Dropbox or Box, or I think Sagara pointed out to us. There's a one called Off Top, which I'm sure some of you guys are, if you're loop makers or beat makers, you've seen. Off Top is another cool one too as well, which auto detects your BPM and your key for you. But yeah, that's the sites I recommend using. I don't recommend using stuff like SoundCloud, because if you use SoundCloud, right, there's different options to listen to different musicians on SoundCloud. Sometimes after like every 2 or 3 tracks, there's an ad that's playing. So it's a lot of distractions taking it away from your music, as opposed to using like Disco or Box or Dropbox. All the attention is just on your music.
Yeah, I think everybody who's gotten placed right now in the chorus has all been using Disco. That's like the one thing I've noticed.
Yeah, actually, I think you might be right.
So Disco's the industry sauce.
It kind of just has the right first impression too, you know?
Yeah.
And that's everything a lot of the times.
Perfectly said, actually.
For sure, with the emails. I mean, Nathan, I was there when you were critiquing emails for submissions.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's like, man, like that first 2 lines of your email you're sending out, that's everything.
Yeah. When I was going through submissions at the music library, it's like we got tons of submissions a week. And if you just send like a random BeatStars link, just like, yo, check my beats, and just bounce, like I was not listening to it. I was putting it straight into spam. You didn't seem professional. You didn't seem like you just copied and pasted an email and just went on about your day. It's about customizing it and making it personal to that library. Yeah, that was a dope week that we did that. I forgot about that.
That was fun. The mentorship calls, I think it's going to be really fun because we're going to have people who have already been through it. Mm-hmm. And so they'll have that beginner, I'll say like, oh, like I did this last month. Be like, this is like the biggest thing I've learned. And like, this is what you should really focus on if you're new to it, just like how I was.
Yeah.
So I'm super hyped for that.
And I feel like the previous mentorship students are going to have stuff that like connects to them a little bit more too. And then like things are going to start hitting a little bit differently for them if they missed it the first time, which is cool. Those SoundCloud ads are rough. Plus the audio quality isn't the greatest when you pay for I agree. Off Top is dope. Yeah, it's pretty dope so far. Good evening. Can you please share your pointers regarding PR in the UK? Currently immigrating. You can use BMI, but I think PRS is out of the UK. If I'm not mistaken, I can Google it real quick. PRS. Yeah, PRS is for you.
You're looking at me for the answer, or Troy the answer. I don't think we know that one.
I'll Google it. Yeah, PRS is the UK music library, or not music library, performing rights organization. But they have actually music libraries listed on their site. If you type in PRS production library, they have a list of different music libraries that you can submit to on that site. Vocalist and producer, that's a perfect combo, Stack. I think that's a great combo. Bel Air is a great reference.
Water here, guys.
Get it, man. Some libraries just say to send MP3s. I'm guessing just abide by the request or say, nah, here's my disco, thank me later. No, definitely abide by the request. If they're telling you specifically what they want, make sure you abide by it. If they give you an option to put Dropbox or disco or SoundCloud, I recommend using Dropbox or disco compared to SoundCloud. But every library is going to be different. Like someone only 3 to 5 tracks you submit. Some only want 2 to 3. Some only want 10. So it all depends on the library's request, but definitely follow what they have on their guidelines. If you just do your own thing and not abide by it, they're not going to take the time to listen. Can you speak more about splits in terms of the music being used and not the lyrics, vice versa, hanging on the business in that scenario? It depends. So like, let's say if you're saying like, if you work with an artist, right? And you have a song and you did the instrumental and they did the vocals, how would that split look as far as the acapella just getting placed or just the instrumental getting placed? It really depends on what you agree on. For me personally, I thought it was only fair if I split everything evenly, so the acapella would have the same split as the full mix would have the same split as the instrumental, just because like I appreciate the artist taking the time to record on it, and sometimes just hearing the song gave them inspiration and getting it and that got it placed, but they only used the instrumental because it worked better. So I just split it evenly, but some libraries let you do like the artist only gets splits on the acapella and then the producer only gets split on the instrumental. That was a good question. I like that question. I thought you were about to say something.
No, I just you and Ryan both looked at each other in the StreamYard thing and it looked funny.
Like that?
No, y'all were having a moment real quick.
You can finally look him in his eyes. I'm hyped.
Yeah, he was straight staring.
I'm hyped. We're going out to the Netherlands to meet for the first time. If you guys are not familiar with Troy and Ryan and like the Heat team, Rucker, even Robin, these guys are like next level in my opinion. If you see a fire under me as far as like posting content more and just being more active and like just being super motivated, it seems like it's definitely because of the team has helped me to a higher accountability for myself. These guys are crazy. This dude Ryan, if you ever get a chance to just like pick his brain, next level.
For real.
A lot easier with Disco. Yeah, I agree with that. Oh, Ryan's leaking the command center.
Ooh.
This is the command center that Robin built out. He like basically took my process and like how I kind of organize things in like Google Sheets or Dropbox or whatever it may be, and then put it all into this huge template. There's email templates. There's like general questions. There's text and tools, like tools that I use as far as like TuneSat and stuff. Production library references, free kits. I think there's free practice briefs on there too. And then they had Rucker write out the entire notes for the course. The entire notes. You should show him one of the production library references. Go to Producing for Sync Resource Hub under Resources. Got the cue lengths, the different genres with the templates. She's shaking. Well, they have to, if you like, that's just like a small part of it. You could click the individual genres.
He's like the sauce. You're spilling it.
Have you noticed a shift in demand for libraries requesting music in Atmos and studio spaces? The industry has changed rapidly regarding spatial audio, wondering about the demand for music in Atmos. No, because you do need to send full mix and master tracks in stereo, But once it gets to the stage, the mixing stage of a show, so this is after they picked out all the music for the show or a movie, it's completely done. They send it to mixing, and mixing does that. They send it to a mixing engineer who will do 5.1, 7.2, and then he'll do spatial audio. So they take care of that. They're the ones who take care of that. So they'll put the music in the front two speakers and the sound effects in the back speakers, and they take care of that part. But everything you need to send does need to be mixed and mastered, and I recommend sending it in stereo. Do not send it in mono. But you don't have to worry about that side of it as far as making it spatial audio or anything like that. The libraries that allow for splits in their platform is an interesting concept. Didn't know about that. Yeah, it depends. Depends on the library. How long does the discount last? I'm not sure.
I was typing it. June 11th.
Have you ever dislocated a bone, and how? From Low Steven. I've never dislocated a bone. I don't think you can dislocate a bone, can you?
I think you can.
Is it a bone that you dislocate? I don't know, but I broke a finger. If you're pitching to a sync agent, would you recommend registering a formal copyright for the song outside of the PRO mechanic rights? I don't think so. I don't think you need to. I don't think so. I think you can just register it directly on BMI's website, and like you just or ASCAP, whatever you're using, just make sure that it's registered before you submit. Oh, June 11th, 11:59 is when the sale ends.
And not a minute later.
For sure, you guys have it.
But it's rigged. It's gonna blow once the clock hits midnight. It's over, baby.
Self-destruct.
No, there's like at the time. There's a timer on the checkout page that literally once that expires, you can't even access the checkout page anymore. Because I accidentally did it for CCS a year ago, and nobody could buy CCS for like 3 days. Well, it works too good.
They're like, let me in. You're like, nah.
It done broke it.
If you're setting a sync to a song, what would be the best sync?
I don't think this guy's asking questions more, man.
I'm confused with that question. If you're setting a sync to a song, what would be the best sync? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Is anybody in here an artist, or is everybody mostly producers? I know that we had a couple people say that their Stack said that he was a collaborator.
Yeah, I was gonna say that could be a good thing to touch on, like collaborating with an artist, and well, I was gonna say more people in general, but specifically artists, like teaming up with them to try and get some sync placements together.
Yeah, I think that's the opportunity right now, is like collaborating with artists, making a good track, sending them out to sync. There's a lot of opportunity right now for there. There's a high demand for vocals, especially quality vocals. There's not a lot of quality vocals in sync licensing, in my opinion. There's a handful of them, not a ton. Do I sign up to my PRO as a writer or publisher? You can sign up as a writer just to start off with. You don't need to sign up with the publisher, because if you get publishing side of it for like let's say like a library, let's say they give you 25 or 50% of the publishing or whatever, you can still collect it under your writer share. And then eventually, you do want to set up with the publisher down the line. I've always, like for the majority of my sync licensing career, I've only been a writer, signed up as a writer until recently. I live in Nigeria. I'm scared I'll be discriminated because of my location. Am I tripping? Nah, there's definitely a demand, I feel like now, as far as like a global outreach, as far as having variety and just diverse talent all over the world. I feel like a great example is when I was working for a music library, we would have certain requests like make a cumbia track based off of Mexico, or make a sanfa track based out of Brazil, and it just did not sound authentic. We would just turn in whatever. It would be like you would have to turn in a cumbia track, and we would turn in like mariachi or something, just something completely out of the region of where we were like specifically trying to create from. But no, there's definitely a more outreach for diverse talent, as far as like everything, as far as where you're from globally, anything that's like a minority, anything, like everything is growing in that field, in my opinion. A good example of that is you look on audionetwork.com, it's a music library, and look at like the type of talent they're asking for all over the world. No problem, though, Steven. Let me know how I can answer your question better. I'm not sure what you were trying to ask, though. How did the first previous mentorship go? What were some of the failures, successes, pros, cons that came along the way versus this time around? Well, this time around, we haven't started yet with the mentorship, but the first one, I felt like what was really cool is that, like, obviously, it was my first time doing it. So I set up assignments and weekly calls, as well as like other areas for like Q&A and stuff like that to sign up. I would say some of the failures is that, like, I had a weekly Q&A, and I noticed after like 2 or 3 weeks, I was already answering all the questions on Discord. So I didn't have those questions to ask for the videos. So by the time like the third week came around, it wasn't really necessary for me to do the Q&A just because I was already answering them in the Discord. As far as successes, it was really cool to see like the mentorship class compared to people who weren't in the mentorship, and taking those mentorship students and working closely with them one-on-one, and then seeing how quickly they were getting signed to libraries. Like we were seeing people within like the third week or so, once we were getting comfortable, like already getting signed, and everybody was starting to get signed at the same time. And it wasn't like I was like giving them my contacts or anything like that. We built out contacts together. So we took time to build out. We took time to learn about genres. We did like a quiz one time. So like
It was like
live
an ear
on
training quiz.
yeah, I took different songs and Ryan put it into this website, and it quizzed you like, what genre do you think this fits for? And we got a better understanding of how our music works in the context. Another week, we built out our own music library. So everybody was working together. We were on Google and different resources looking at music libraries, and we found a ton of them. And we found like secrets to finding out contact info on their website, like that Ryan figured out just because he's a magician with like the back end and like the websites and stuff like that. It was crazy. And it was cool. We did email template review. So it was exciting for me because my goal for this is to really see people succeed, whether you're in the mentorship or not. So it was really cool to work like and see people's faces and work kind of, I wouldn't say one-on-one, but like on a personal basis with everybody. But the failures, I had a couple of plans that didn't go as I thought it would go, but it was cool because I was able to shift and kind of adjust. And then we also asked for feedback for people who were in the mentorship after it ended to see like what they didn't like, what they did like, so we can improve on that on this next time around. And it was cool to get that feedback. I played double bass, and used to be a session musician. Does that count as an artist? Yeah, I feel like if you can make your own track on your own, you can be counted as an artist or a musician, like a music producer. I feel like it works out. I was working with the drummer who did in the brass player. Actually, no, it was the brass players from Uptown Funk for Bruno Mars, and they were doing tracks for a specific show. It was Real Housewives of Potomac, and they were doing like drums on it, and they were like brass players and stuff like that, and they ended up getting a few placements off that. So yeah, you can be a musician in different styles and everything. I'm an artist too, but not for sync licensing for now. I want to get good recording equipment first. If you're an artist right now, you don't need to be fit for sync licensing. Like if you're an artist, they're not necessarily looking for tracks that sound like sync. They're looking for artists who are genuine, who have a story, who have an emotional connection behind their music. Now, not saying that the music is a little bit different as far as like how specific things are, but it's definitely they're not like looking just for sync style tracks for artists. They're looking for artists that connects to their audience. Now, if you were to make a song, but you don't know what instrument or melody to use, what would be the easiest, fastest way to find one? It just depends on what you're inspired by, what you're trying to make. Like if I'm going for an anthem track, my sound selection might be brass or anything that sounds like gritty and salty like a brass. If I'm going for like a acoustic indie pop track, it would be acoustic guitar. It just depends on the song, really. I'm an artist and producer. What are some of the main keys you have for song submission? I definitely recommend doing your research, looking up music libraries or sync agencies if you're an artist, and looking at their submission guideline, and definitely having your song structured or arranged for sync. So having quick intros, having a sting at the end of it, having a little bit of variation, room for dialogue, because you're making music for dialogue at the end of the day. And just follow the submission guidelines. They typically have their submission guidelines on there. If they don't have it, look for a submission email. If they don't have a submission email, ask who the best person is to get in contact with submissions. That's like the main points. We learned a little bit of hacking. Cigar says, yeah, and the mentorship. Yeah, Ryan, this dude Ryan, hacked the system.
Figured it out.
Hacker man.
I know this isn't about song, but what is your favorite game? Overwatch. Overwatch was my favorite game. In the scenario, the sync agent only wants a percentage of the sync fee. Would you still recommend only filling PR info? Is there a standard plan of action in those scenarios? Sync agencies work way better as far as like totality of getting the full amount of payment on the track. So your writers, your publishing, they're not touching that. They're only touching the upfront fee that you get. Now, typically when that happens though, majority of your money is going to be through the upfront fees, but that doesn't mean like you're not going to see good money. So let's say they pitch your track out to Uber. Uber has a $20,000 budget and you're split with them on the sync fees. They get 25%. They're only taking 25% of that, $20,000. Hopefully that answered the question. Appreciate your sharing. Going to take advantage of this time around. Currently in the process of moving. No problem at all. We had a student moving in the middle of the sync class this time around. Last time around too. It's funny. Can we get a replay? I don't think there's a replay right now. Is there, Ryan?
The replay link will be sending tomorrow night, I believe.
Oh, okay. So yeah, the replay's coming up.
Or maybe tonight.
Again. Or maybe tonight. I think we're about to. Oh, we're early in 46 minutes. I was going to say we're about to hit an hour.
Yeah. I would say about 10 more minutes here.
For sure.
And then we can go from there.
Let me know if you guys have any questions about anything sync related about the course. If you guys have any specific questions about what we're going to learn or anything. If you're already part of the community, if you already had questions before, let me know. I was gonna ask how many people are in here because I can't see it now on my
we got like 16 right now. I think if you look at the top left corner of the video, you should be able to see it.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
In StreamYard?
Yeah, that's cool. Chris Brown Jr. Nope. Chris Brown.
What type of contracts do music producers receive as a standard? Is it a lifetime contract or limited time? It's the tracks that you submit to them, they have access to. There's two different types of contracts, exclusive and non-exclusive. Anything that you send is exclusive. They have something, what's called perpetuity, which means lifetime, which means the tracks that you submit to them, they can earn, they have in their library for a lifetime. But you can ask in certain situations to get those tracks taken out, but they only have access to the tracks that you submit. They don't have access to your own your whole catalog. You're not only signed to that, like you're not only locked down by that one music library. You can submit to multiple music libraries. So it's not technically a lifetime contract. Most of the time, they want the tracks that they own in perpetuity because it gives them access to be able to work with more clients that way. I want to make music for sync licensing purposes. We're here to help. We got the course that just dropped, that masterclass. If you missed it, we're here to help you. This is the last non-music question I'll ask. Why should I change my username, YouTube username? What do you guys think?
I think you should keep it if it's Lil Steven.
Keep it Lil Steven.
I don't think it's going to get much better than that.
I feel like it's easy to remember. Lil Steven. Shout out to Lil Steven. Anybody else with questions? I think we're getting close to the end here. If you guys have any questions, let us know.
We got a lot of good ones.
Yeah, I feel like there's solid questions asked.
A few specific
I feel
ones.
like, yeah, a lot newer ones than what people asked last time.
This one's not a question, but just wanted to say thank you for all your efforts, guys. Appreciate that you're sharing knowledge. 100%. Thank you for sharing that, for saying that. I'm hyped to be partnered with Heat. I think I talked about this last time, but I always struggle with beat selling. I didn't know about the marketing side. I just thought, let me upload my beats to SoundClick or let me upload my beats to BeatStars and it'll take care of itself. No, I've taken many courses about beat selling too as well. It was terrible. I had one course that was literally sideways. The entire video was just sideways. The person was like this. The entire video talking about the whole video was about YouTube ads, about how YouTube ads to sell more beats. It wasn't even marketed like that. It was just like how to sell beats online. It was just a YouTube video ad that I could have found for free online. But with Heat, like they have such an intricate process of like teaching people automation with emails, marketing, branding, how to set up a website, all that stuff. And after I saw like the feedback from that from my homie Beats by Danny, I was like, I got to connect with them. So I'm hyped to be a part of the team.
Yes, sir.
So if a track is submitted to a library or if a track is submitted and not used, do the library still have access rights to it? Yes, but you can also ask for that track back. Like, hey, can we take this track out of the library? I notice it's not being used. I would love to restructure it and submit it elsewhere or something. Or love to have access, back to it. Yeah, you can definitely ask that. You mentioned adding composers underneath your PRO to enable you to submit music for things outside of your style. What is the application process? You wouldn't add it like anything to your PRO or anything like that. It's just like when you're submitting out to a music library, you can collaborate with other people and you pitch it as like, hey, I have this collaborator. I do hip hop. He does orchestral. He specializes in that. I specialize in this. And we will have to submit together. That's kind of how that process will look. It wouldn't be like anything else. Unless if you're signing people under you, it depends on the music library. So if you're sitting to the music library and they allow you to sign people under you, you can get a percentage, and that takes time. You have to build a relationship. Like that's not something you get off the gate. You definitely have to build that relationship with them. But they'll let you sign somebody under you, and you take a percentage of their track as a collaborator. I am loving this stream so much that I subscribe. Thank you all for brightening my day. Hey man, appreciate you coming over here, little Steven. That's the homie.
Shout out, little Steven.
Shout out, little Steven. Word. Any other questions before we wrap it up here?
Well, I feel like Little Steven's a bot or something. This is suspect activity, man.
He might just be young.
I feel like
just young.
That's his video game he's trying to plug.
Think so?
He's trying to. Y'all don't look at Sync. Take a look at Pizza Tower.
He's.
Dang, it's messed up.
Savage.
All right, guys. I think that's it. Did you have any closing statements, Ryan or Troy, before we leave? Or
I'm afraid to say something. I think he's gonna ban me.
I just might. Let's see. There's a handful of mentorship spots left, so if you're eyeing that up, better get on that. I know last time we sold out first 27 hours, about so. So if you want to get in there, definitely want to get on that fast. 0 to Sync is 30% off for this whole week until June 11th. Then we're going to close it down for probably 2 to 3 weeks. And then it's going to open up, but at full price. So I think that's around $600. So if you're eyeing it up, that's not the mentorship. I don't know how much the mentorship's going to be.
I think it doesn't reopen again until after another 6 weeks or something like that.
It's going to be a while. That's going to be more expensive. So if you're just eyeing it up, I mean, now is literally the perfect time just because obviously, look at that. Mentorship's great. Definitely recommend. Look, we don't even pay him money to say that. That's organic.
Shout out to Cigar. That's the homie.
That's my sales pitch.
Cigar is if you follow Cigar's story, it is crazy. It's crazy. It's dope. All right, guys. I appreciate that. Appreciate Ryan and Troy for your help too with this. Getting it all together. Of course, will there be one-on-one sessions? Just subscribe. No, there's no one-on-one. It's everything's worked on a group end. But like, if you ever have any questions, you ever want to DM me, I'm always there and available to help as much as possible. I get a ton of DMs. And so if I don't respond to you really quickly, just please be patient with me. I respond as quickly as possible. All right, guys.
Sweet.
Farewell.
Yeah. Now we appreciate everyone for being here. We're glad Nathan came on and was able to answer some questions for y'all. I think now would be a good time. We answered all the questions that we got.
Oh, have a good one, guys. Peace out.
Yep. See you. We appreciate all of you coming out here. Thank you guys for showing up. We'll see you in the next one.